Hello everyone, welcome on in. It's the second edition of Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. Looking ahead to tomorrow's action on the ATP Tour. It was a busy week of tennis with 3 250 events, and I'm delighted to say joining me looking ahead to the action is our senior ATP Tour handicapper. It is Sean Calvert. Sean, good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon.
You're struggling a little bit with this bug that's going around that I can tell that this Calvert cough's coming returning.
Yeah, I'm all right. I just feel a bit under the weather. I feel like, you know how you feel when you're about to get a cold and you just got like a few little sneezes and bits and pieces. A couple of mouth ulcers on the go as well. Yeah, it feels like it could be on the turn. Hopefully nothing like Madrid when I had that 460-day cough or whatever it was.
Let's hope you don't get it like I had it last week.
Yeah, you all right now or not?
So, I'm okay. I'm soldiering on. I'm a professional, aren't I? So I
yes.
I don't like to talk about it. We don't like to talk about ailments in this show, do we? Really?
Well, I do. I mean,
a lot of people like to know about our ailments. But no, if it's okay, it'll be bad for a couple of days. You'll be fine. So we might get tomorrow's one in, and we'll see how we go for next week. And we should be okay.
I'm all right.
Watching the tennis.
I am. Got it on here. I got watching Jacob Fernley just beating Corentin Moutet over in Stockholm. So there's always something on because there's 3 tournaments on, aren't there? So there's and they keep flicking between the different tournaments and the different matches. So yeah, another good performance from Fernley there. He's just beating Moutet. Reminds me a bit of Berrettini, Fernley. Not just the way that he plays, the way he produces his shots and the way he moves. Not quite as much power, but that sort of style of play is going to be a tough match. I think he's playing Griekspoor next, which is kind of annoying because we've got Griekspoor to win the tournament. But that's always the danger, isn't it, of doing the outrights before the qualifiers, which we have to every week. If he'd have got one of the easier qualifiers, great. But he's probably got the hardest qualifier there that he could have drawn, so that's not ideal. But what can you do?
Well, we did do the preview. If you haven't seen it, there's a preview. And there's still some matches to be played from the preview, which is still live on the Betting Weekly Studios YouTube channel. So if you haven't watched it, make sure you watch that. There's some still bets live for tomorrow with Bet Rivers. But when we did it, we give the outright markets, and you said that you're not going to have a play at that moment in time on a tournament in Kazakhstan in Almaty.
Yeah.
But you said you may have something for us today. Now, obviously, play is still being played. There's still action being played in Kazakhstan. We still haven't got there's still 2 matches. But you said about the qualifiers. 2 qualifiers have played. We've had Dan Evans play. Karatsev is currently in play at the moment. Dan Evans won against Tara Daniel. So it was a good strategy to leave the outright market alone. But I don't know if you've had a look at the draw now. You see where the qualifiers in. There is no odds available now, but later on today there will be on the Bet Rivers app. Is there anybody that's caught your eye?
Yeah, I like the aforementioned Dan Evans here. I think you might be able to get a decent price about him when the market reopens. He was 30-1 this morning with Bet Rivers, and he's just beaten Daniel. I presume he was favourite to win that match. So I would guess. I mean, bear in mind that there's still all the seeds in that half haven't played yet, so I can't imagine his price will come in that much. I imagine you'd get about 20-1. I should think on Dan Evans. I wonder if he's finally injury free. He's a good option to win this tournament. He should have gas left in the tank. He's only played 43 matches this season, which is not much. Remember I said the other day Felix played 87 in 2022. That's basically half of that workload. Obviously he beat Boo in the qualies, the informed Boo. And the other factor that I like, he's got really good records against the players that he's likely to meet this week. If he beats TFO, they're 4-4. By the way, on their head-to-head in completed matches. Evans beat TFO on TFO's home patch of Washington, D.C. last time they met. So he's got a decent chance of beating TFO who's coming in cold. Evans has gone through qualities. He can't be any more well-adjusted to the conditions than he already is. If he beats him, he might well get Mannarino. He's 4-1 against Mannarino. And if Khachanov comes through that adjacent section, he's 5-0 against Khachanov. So it looks decent for me, Evans. It looks the best of the bigger prices. Honestly, looking at this draw, I could probably make a case for probably 7 or 8 of them. But is it value? Are there any value prices other than the one that I like here, which is Dan Evans? I'm guessing on the price it should be about 20s. I would have thought if he was 30s this morning, he's only beaten a guy that he should beat, and he's got to play the favourite, the number 1 seed next. So I would imagine you get about 20-1 on that.
There you go. Dan Evans. Head across to the Bet Rivers website and the app. Look at the outright prices, the tournament winner prices in Almaty in Kazakhstan. And Dan Evans is our... Won't be an official pick because is it going to be an official pick because we don't really know the price. We could spare a lean for us, I suppose. But
yeah, I do want to make it an official pick, but we can't. I mean, all I can do is maybe tweet out the price later. I think that's the only thing I can do, isn't it? I can't say now because the market's not going to be formed for another probably 3 or 4 hours. But I should be able to do it this evening. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have an official pick on Dan Evans. We'll notify you of the price, but head across to the Bet Rivers website and the app and check out the outright markets, which I think will be up in about when this podcast drops. I'm guessing around about lunchtime Eastern time today. Remember, the action in Kazakhstan starts very early. It's 2 a.m. tomorrow. The action starts, and we have some matches. We've highlighted some matches here on the outright market. We have 3 matches that we've got. The first match we're going to start with is Borna Coric against Gabriel Diallo. Diallo come through a tough match against O'Connell, but he played well. He won 7-6 in the first set, and then he ran away with the second set 6-2. It was a pick-and match, that match. He's now the underdog up against Borna Coric, minus 137 for the much more experienced Coric. The Canadian is plus 110. If we look at the head-to-heads between the two of them, there's not much to go by because they've never played before. But on indoor surfaces this year, Coric is 8-3, Diallo is 2-1. Both of them had good wins in the opening round. Looks a tough one to call, this one, but you've got a wager. What do you like here?
Yeah, I mean, we had a nice winner on that Diallo match, didn't we? What was it, 3.95 tiebreak in the first set? A bit shaky the first service game of O'Connell, but once he got that out of the way, it was rarely in doubt. That was running at about 25% return points, one each. So that one worked out nicely as I'd hoped. But this one, Coric, for me, this is a matchup thing. Coric has a weak record against big servers throughout his career, and in the conditions as they are, pretty quick altitude, I think it's going to be a tough ask for Coric. I just think that price minus 137 is too short. Diallo won 83% of his first serve points against O'Connell and 76% of his service points in total. So at altitude, he's going to be tough to deal with. And as I said, Coric against big servers, the ones I've got listed as big servers in my database, his career record is 8 wins, 15 losses, and he's 2-4 win-loss on indoor hard. And in those 23 matches, he's only winning 29% of return points, breaking serve less than 10% of the time. So clearly he has an issue with big servers. If Diallo serves as well as he did against O'Connell, I think he's got an excellent chance of bringing the plus money in. Looking at the form of Coric this season, it's been pretty awful, really. I know he's had a lot of injury problems throughout his career. He's had issues with his back and his shoulder and various other things, but he's only won 40% of his main level matches this season, and he's only won back-to-back matches twice in 18 tournaments. So immediately I'm thinking this price is not great. His win in round 1 against Marijan, I don't think that will really amount to much because Marijan was absolutely awful. Marijan's actually lost 11 of his last 14 matches at all levels, including Challenger, on indoor hard. So I remember watching him in Antwerp last year. I've got the T-shirt on today, actually, the Antwerp European Open T-shirt. He lost from, I think, a set and a break-up or set-up against Varillas, the clay quarter, Marijan. So he's got some sort of issue with indoor hard. Whether he just fades away this time of the season, as a lot of them do, I don't know. But I'm not really putting much stock in that win of Borna Coric. So Diallo for me here, plus 110. Yeah, matchup thing, big server. Let's do it. Yeah,
well, if you wasn't seeing the show yesterday, what we gave in the match between Diallo and O'Connell was a first set tiebreak, and I think it was plus 280.
It was
285, something like
3.95.
Yeah, so plus 295 was the price on here. So it was a great bet and it cashed for us. We haven't really mentioned about the conditions. You've been watching a lot of tennis here in Kazakhstan. Is it quick as we expected? Because we haven't got a line yet on the total, the spread here. That will come out late today with Bet Rivers, and maybe people might be looking at the total here, given how quick the surface is.
Yeah, I mean, depends if they've caught on to Diallo yet, the layers. Sometimes it takes them a little while to do it because he hasn't played that often at main level. But yeah, for me, it looks decent. It looks like if you got a big serve, big ground strokes, you can hit winners on it. You know, the balls do fly. A couple of the players have said that, but we expected that. It's at altitude. That's what happens. You have to have that element of control as well, which is another thing that Dan Evans does really well. looks like it takes a slice pretty well, which is another plus for Dan Evans. But yeah, lively conditions. I love these sort of tournaments. I'd rather talk about this tournament than on its own than the other two, because I don't really feel like there's much of an edge in the other two. They're kind of, Stockholm particularly is sort of medium at best, if not medium slow. So I like it when you've got you feel like you've got a bit of an edge on the market.
The Diallo is the bet, plus 110 on the money line. Head across the Bet Rivers website. As I said, no specials on the market yet, no spread or no totals or no props. But when this podcast drops, I'm sure there'll be 29 different markets or more on the match. And it starts early to play, 2 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow morning. So it's early Wednesday morning. Make sure you download the podcast. So make sure you get the app, download the app, or head to the Bet Rivers website. And if you do have a bet on any of the matches today we feature here, you'll be able to bet on the match live and watch the bet live on the Bet Rivers app and the website. Moving on to the second match in Kazakhstan, it's Justin Engel against Francisco Cerundolo. It's a new name for us on the show. We haven't ever featured Justin Engel, I do believe. Well, he's
correct.
A bit of an outsider here against Francisco Cerundolo. Francisco Cerundolo, the heavy favourite, minus 530. Engel is plus 380. The spread is 4.5, and the total here is quite a low 20.5. No surprise, they've never played before. Engel is ranked in the mid 400s. He's 17 in the world. He's 17 years of age. He's a German player, and he's played well in the first round. He did nothing wrong in his main over Wong, 2 sets to love. And Cerundolo, not in good form. Lost against Kachanov in straight sets, and lost against Shevchenko in Shanghai in straight sets as well. And there has been money for the young German here in the build-up to this match, plus 380 for Engel. Yeah,
this is an end-of-season thing. It's about how I perceive the relative kind of interest, if you like, enthusiasm for this match. Engel's will be about 1,000%. And Cerundolo, it could be anything between 0 and about probably 50 or 60, I should think. Engel's, when he beat Coleman Wong yesterday, he became the first player born in 2007 or later to win a match at ATP Tour level. I don't know how old that makes you feel, but
it makes you feel very old.
Yeah, 2000.
What was you doing in 2007?
I just started doing this. I just started doing tennis betting journalism in 2007. So that's how long ago it was.
It makes me feel old to think that my kids were like 6 and 3 or 2 or something. I mean, 5 and 2. It just
Lagan was
sense.
Lagan obviously wasn't born, was he? 2007.
Yeah, amazing.
But yeah, he's obviously a very young kid. I really like what I saw from him against Wong. You know, he had all the elements that I like to see. You know, he's an attacking player, goes for his shots. You would expect him to at that age. You'd expect him to be playing pretty loose. It's either goes one way or the other, doesn't it? When you play your first main level match, they're either a little bit hamstrung by the nerves, or they just play like they've got nothing to lose, and that's what. Which of course Engel hasn't. That's how he played against Wong. Goes for his shots. He's got a lively arm, which for me suits the sort of the quicker surfaces. Fast arm, very quick around the court. Likes to come to the net as well. Loves coming to the net. He's got some good touch there, good variety. I think this kid's going to be pretty good if he carries on like this. Conditions. I feel like the conditions suit him here. As I say, he attacks. He goes for his shots. He comes to the net. He might catch Cerundolo napping here. I can't imagine Cerundolo has spent many hours watching videos of Justin Engel. And Cerundolo's stats on indoor hard, they're not exactly inspiring. Last 12 months at main level, 7-7 win-loss, so a 50% win rate and a service points won and return points won total of 98. You know, nothing to get excited about. Looking further into Cerundolo's slow starts, Cerundolo has only won 9 of his 26 round 1 matches this season in straight sets, and he's lost the opening set 13 of 26 times. So he's a coin flip on whether he wins the first set or not, based on this season. The other thing I'm not convinced about Cerundolo is him at altitude. He played okay in Madrid this year, but it was very, very, very cold and different conditions in Madrid this year than previous years. His record on the Golden Swing at altitude on clay is poor. He's played 9 matches and he's lost 7 of them. The other issue is, as far as Cerundolo is concerned, you know, how seriously is he taking this? I can't imagine. It's obviously guesswork. I don't know. Got no line into the Cerundolo account, but a lot of players this time of year, the energy's not really there, is it? It certainly will be with Engel. So I quite like the plus 250, 3.5 that Bet Rivers are offering about Engel to win the first set. Come out loose, play like he did against one, win the first set. It may go wrong for him after that. Who knows? But yeah, that's what I'm going to go for here. First set to Engel, catch Cerundolo cold.
Yeah. First set, Engel, 17-year-old. We do remember a certain 17-year-old burst on the scene, German 17-year-old burst on the scene a few years ago and went on to be quite a decent player.
Quite a few years ago, yeah.
Yeah, quite a few years of that. That makes me feel old, even older than saying there's a 17-year-old playing here. But
about 40 years ago.
Exactly. Justin Engel. Remember the name. First time we've mentioned here on Game Bet Match. I'm sure it will not be the last. That match does start at 2 a.m. If you like Engel to win the first set, you might like the over 20.5 games in this match as well, which is minus 120. And any other prop that you might want to take about the young and very talented German to be a probably disinterested Francisco Cerundolo. Our final match we are going to discuss here in Kazakhstan is Maximilian Marterer up against Alejandro-Tabilo. Tabilo is minus 225. Marterer is plus 175. The spread is 2.5, and the total here is 22.5. Tabilo, I'm sure you'll have some stats about him at altitude. He's a South American player. He's probably played a lot at altitude. He's a number 2 seed here, but he hasn't been in great form, I must admit, coming into this tournament. Pretty poor form indeed. Lost his 8 matches on a spin before he beat Rinderknech in Shanghai in round 2 a couple of weeks ago. Lost to Shanghai against Tommy Paul in round 3, but he did beat Rinderknech, which was his first match. Marterer comes through a tough first round match here with an easy win again. Well, it was a pick-em match, I think, at the time from the betting with Bet Rivers, but he made it look pretty one-sided with a 2-0 win over Zuma. But Tabilo is not in form despite being the number 2 seed here, and at minus 225, that looks very, very short to me.
Yeah, I won't back it minus 225. This looks like a match with the tie breaks to me in these conditions. The 2 occasions that these two met in the past it was slow conditions, and this is obviously much quicker in Astana. Tabilo's played 4 matches only on indoor hard in the last 12 months, and he's lost all of them. But he's held serve 86% of the time, and he's only broken 9% of the time, playing 0.5 tie breaks per set, so an average of at least 1 tie break per match. I know it's only 4 matches, but it kind of gives you the idea of Tabilo. Strong on serve, indoors not so great on return, very poor on return, 9% breaks of serve, leads to a lot of tie breaks. And he's coming in here in dreadful form, really. He's lost 12 of his last 15 matches, and he's coming off a choke of the season contender against Tommy Paul, that match you mentioned a few seconds ago. And he was a set and 5-1 up in that match, Tabilo. Had 5 match points, ended up losing that set on a tiebreak, and then predictably faded away in the 3rd set. So that was his last outing. So he's coming off that. He put a lot of effort into the clay season earlier on, and some of these players, they're not interested really in this last, unless they've got something specific to play for, like a certain ranking to aim for, or entry to the tour finals, or something else. Direct entry to slams and stuff like that. Some of these guys just don't. They probably haven't got the energy to really deal with this. So I'm slightly tempted by Marterer on the money line. I remember watching him in Antwerp last year, this exact time of year last year. He was very, very good. Big server, likes to go for his shots. Difficult to return in these indoor conditions, but I think tiebreaks is probably the better option. So it's just a lean here, but over 10.5 games looks a decent price. Plus 195 at Bet Rivers. All tiebreak played in the match at any point is plus money. Plus 115 at Bet Rivers.
Are they going to be official plays or leans in that match?
That's just a lean, that one. I'm slightly worried about Marterer. He tends to put the odd dodgy game in now and again. It gets to sort of 4-all, and he'll put in a shocker or 3-all. And he'll end up having to break back. But given Tabilo's lack of ability to break serve, it's certainly got Marterer's got a good chance of either making this competitive, winning it, or playing tiebreaks.
Yep, tiebreaks is the angle. Total game, set number 1. Tiebreak in the match. Lots of different markets available to choose from with Bet Rivers. That match starts at 4:40 a.m. Eastern Time. And if you do place a wager on the match, remember you can watch the bet live. Watch the match live on the Bet Rivers app or on the website. So that is it from Almaty. We have one other match that we are going to discuss here, which has caught Sean's attention. And it's over in Stockholm. And it's a match between two players that we've spoken about many times in this show. We've seen a lot of players we haven't really spoken about here. But we now have players who are regularly on the show. Casper Ruud at -167 against Lorenzo-Sonego, who is +135, the Italian, who I actually bet against in the last round, and I lost my money. I don't know why I did that. I don't know. I just watched
against Huesler.
Yeah, I thought Huesler had a chance in that match.
He did.
I watched the first, and I thought he didn't. I wasn't impressed with Sonego, but Casper Ruud is a player at this time of year that I couldn't bet anyway. But there is a reason why that Casper Ruud is a heavy favourite with Bet Rivers, and it's all on the head-to-head here. If you look at the head-to-head between the two of them, they played 4 times before, and Ruud has won every single match, including indoor in Vienna in 2021. But the last time they did meet was in 2022, so it was a pretty long time ago, and he was at the French Open. We'd expect Casper Ruud to win it, but Sonego gave him all kinds of problems. He was 2-1 up.
He was.
And the Norwegian won in 5 sets. But at this time of year, Casper Ruud is one player that I would never trust at -167. The spread is 2.5, total 23.5. Take it away, Mr. Calvert.
Yeah, he's got no form at all recently, Ruud. And as you say, this time of year, it's not for him, is it? He's a player of habit, isn't he, Casper Ruud? You know, he doesn't bother turning up for the grass season year after year, gives it about 20% effort. And the same, you know, this time of year, really, very rarely do you see Ruud going well on indoors in October, November. But happily, the match is being priced, for me, I think, anyway, on the head-to-head, but it's been close to their last 2 meetings. There's a couple of ways of looking at this if you're thinking about betting against Casper Ruud. I mean, some people might say, he's playing in Scandinavia, Stockholm, you know, he's going to be highly motivated. Well, really, I mean, he's only played twice at this tournament, lost both matches, so he's 0-2 in Stockholm, and he hasn't played it at all since 2019. So it's not like he's been coming here every year, you know, keen as mustard to play in front of his Scandinavian fans. Obviously, he hasn't. That in itself suggests to me that he's being paid a substantial amount to show up this week. So my take on that is he's probably turning up for the money. I can't imagine he wants to really win the Stockholm Open. Maybe he does. Maybe I'm wrong, but doesn't seem that likely. Looking at recent form, last 3 months at main level, it's Sonego that's ahead in all areas, really. 57% win rate compared to 50% for Ruud. Service points won and return points won, total of 104.3 for Sonego, 102.5 for Ruud. Service hold and break total 106 for Sonego, 101 for Ruud. And Sonego's held serve 87% of the time in those matches. I don't think he got broken against Huesler either, did he, in the match that you were talking about? He was pretty dominant on serve. Sonego there served really well. So let's just that aside, the last 10 matches each that these guys have played on indoor hard, again, better stats from Sonego, 60% win rate compared to 50% for Ruud. Service points won and return points won, total of 100 compared to 98 for Ruud. And I've included Davis Cup in those stats for Ruud. I was being generous there to Ruud, including Davis Cup, because some of the matches Ruud's played on indoor hard have been against a lot of low-ranking opponents, which he's lost to as well. Who did he lose to on indoor hard? He lost to somebody. Enrique Rocha he lost to on indoor hard. Davis Cup. He's number 159 in the world. So there's nothing really to suggest that, other than the head-to-head, to suggest that Ruud should be such a favourite here. And looking at those indoor hard matches that I've just talked about, Casper Ruud's only broken serve 31% of the time. And just going back to the head-to-head for a minute, Ruud did say after that 5-set win over Sonego that the 5-set format saved him. Those are his words against Sonego, because Sonego was 2-1 ahead and he was playing great. He just couldn't keep it up for the full 5 sets on clay on Ruud's favoured surface. So there's not a lot to like here about Casper Ruud for me. He's also lost 5 of his last 6 matches as well, by the way, Casper Ruud, and the one win was against the world number 157 in Davis Cup. So a lot of this will depend on Ruud's attitude. I'm taking the view that he's here for the money, essentially. And you're not saying he won't put any effort in, but is that fire there? Is that desire there? I'm not convinced. So Sonego for me,
yeah. Casper Ruud, questionable about his performances. Big losses to players that you wouldn't expect him to win, and the one win he had was in the Davis Cup, 5 losses from his last 6. But saying that, Sonego hadn't won a match since he won in Winston-Salem before this week, and that's why I opposed him. But
that's Sonego, though, isn't it? That is Sonego.
Served exceptionally well, but you just want to be betting Casper at this time of the year. So they are the 4 matches that we have discussed here in Stockholm and an outright pick in Kazakhstan. Remember, there is another show which is still live on the Betting Weekly YouTube channel, Betting Weekly Studios. You'll be able to see bets that still haven't played in the first round. So the first round that's tomorrow in Kazakhstan, we have another bet as well, which is on that show as well. So it's going to be a busy day of bets for us. We started off the tournament with a nice win, plus 195 units as well, which is it's good for our figure, which hasn't been updated yet, but I'll update on that tomorrow. So before we go, Sean, just give us your bets for the show today and your official plays.
Yeah, so the official plays, the one I just mentioned in Stockholm's Lorenzo-Sonego, I think he's plus 135 to beat Casper Ruud. Yep. That's my one pick in Stockholm. Over in Astana, I'm going to take Dan Evans on the outright. I'll update that on Twitter later with the price. I mean, if the price isn't good enough, then obviously I won't take it, so don't do anything until I've updated that, because obviously I haven't seen the market yet because it isn't there. So that's a possibility, a strong possibility. The match bets, Gabriel Diallo, I think he's plus 110 to beat Borna Coric. And I'm taking a chance on the 17-year-old young man Engel to win the opening set against Cerundolo. Plus 250, that is with Bet Rivers.
Yeah. So a great amount of bets there as well, plus the bets that we have already got as well. So it's a busy day of tennis action. And we'll be back again tomorrow to do it all again with some more bets here on Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. Remember to download the podcast, Betting Weekly Game Bet Match, on your preferred podcast provider. Keep subscribing to the YouTube channel. The subscribers are going up and up and up. Give us any comments. Please give us a like. It really helps the algorithms. And also follow us on our socials at Because We Win on Instagram and on Twitter. Remember, 11 o'clock Eastern every day, Monday to Friday, we have Betting Weekly Live. One of the handicapping crew will be on giving you the best bets for that particular day on the big sporting action, and we'll get the movers and the shakers and where the money is being placed from the Bet Rivers headquarters as well. That's it for today, Sean. Good luck with your bets. We'll catch up with you again tomorrow. Take care and good luck with your wagers. All the best.